guys all get a little bit louder. How are you guys doing today? So we're going to get ready to start the Blair Witch panel here shortly, but I want to lay down a couple of ground rules. There are no rules. Okay, the only thing that I ask of you, right back there, if you see Stan, he's raising his hand up. If you have questions, go back to Stan, because that's where our line is going to be for questions. We were going to do it in the center, but that didn't work out so well. Right back here is where Stan's going to be. If you see him one more time, raise your hand, Stan. Hi. Stan the man will be taking questions back there for our fine people that are coming up here. So, give me a few moments. I'm going to go back and talk to some people. I'll be right back. Let me give you a subject. Muffins, blueberry or chocolate chip?
Blueberry.
Here for Josh, Mike, Heather, and Ed from the Blair Witch Project.
Heather and I both live in the woods now, so we're not used to people.
How awesome is it seeing a packed house though? This is great.
Can you pass that mic down, Mike? Can you? There we go. Alright, there we go. Good.
Here's my first question for the audience. How many of you would not go camping with these three?
Lame.
So, when the movie came out, it was like, there was something about it where everybody just thought, holy shit, this is real, this is not. Because of part of the stuff that we had out then, in 25 years ago, we had...
How many of you were born after this movie came out? All right, cool.
This is one of the original flyers that actually came out like with the movie. They were posting these all over the place, and I think the website was what was the website? Because it was a really rudimentary website, but it had sounds and I think it was like just Blair Witch.
Yeah. Well, the original one I built was definitely rudimentary as shit. And then artists, when they bought the movie, they took it down and they slowly started picking it up. But yeah, it was supposed to be kind of, like kind of amateurish, like kind of, like a documentary kind of website. But yeah, when we pretended it was real, and we just felt like that was, for us as a guiding principle of the creative was like, it has to be real. That's why we wrote the script and kept all the dialogue out, let's see the actors improvise, using their real names, which I know they, you guys are not,
regret.
Yeah, regret. But, again, none of us thought that this movie was going to go anywhere. We thought it was going to be maybe a video release. So, but it was, that was the main kind of guiding principle. It's like everything has to be real. The acting has to feel real. We can't have like lights, shining, lighting up in the dark woods. It has to be like you're really, there with these people. So.
It definitely did feel real. Did anybody see it in theaters like the first weekend it came out or anything like that? I went the first night, and we were kind of talking about this back there. I went the first night, and they were showing it in 2 theaters in Columbus. And back then, I thought that I bought tickets for the right theater. I did not. My tickets were across town, and then you could not select your seats. So you just go in, and I walk in, it's a packed theater. It's me, and my roommate, and my girlfriend, and we go in, packed theater, and of course the only seats that are available, front row. So we're sitting like this, in these uncomfortable ass seats, and everything's shaky and all that, you know. And I'm like, this is the worst theater experience I've ever had in my life. But I really like the movie, so I'm gonna have to come back and see it again. So, but
I'm sorry to do this, but Heather, I apologize. You really did see up Heather's nose the best.
Yeah, it was bad. And I'm like,
I want to apologize for all the nausea that we created. Because even I, like when we were screening, I would always have to sit in the back, and I tell this all the time, like if we knew this movie was going to be in the theaters, we would have given you like a little steak can or something. We had no idea.
But it added to it. It added to the realism. It added to everything. Because, you know, if you go hiking or something like that, even if you've got a GoPro, your head's all over the place. So it added to it. So that was one thing that I really dug about it. So we've got a couple of questions back here already that I want to go to, and then I want to show you this kid's outfit that's back here. This is so cool. It is.
That's Jace.
Yeah, nice work, Jason family.
Get up here, Dad. Get up here,
cosplay
Jason.
ever.
Get up here. Awesome. Come here. Come here. I went back and I was kind of blown away by this.
What a cutie. Nice job.
That is freaking awesome. I'm not like the person who's like,
Are you getting costume models by any chance?
Specifically for Mike, why did you pick the map in the creek?
Alright, that's cool. I get that a lot. Quite imagine. And thank you everybody for being here. Really, it means so much to be here after 25 years and come into a room full of people who still want to talk about this film. Really grateful for that and blessed to be I've been a part of this and still to be a part of it. So thank you for that. And the map piece, Heather and Josh were arguing over the map. As you know, from the first, I don't know, quarter half of the film, we're arguing about the map. Just so we are aware, we are actors and the map was a prop, so it actually was useless. But I appreciate your suspension of disbelief. They fight about it, they're sort of tugging back and forth on it. They crumble the map up, I believe. Josh crumbles it, and he does one of these, where he's like, throws it, and I'm standing there, and they just storm off. So it rolls right in front of my feet, and I'm like, yeah! And I literally did kick it into the creek, watch it sail away like, oh, they didn't notice, right? So they didn't notice. That's a piece of information for me that they don't have. So I was like, should I tell them right now? And I always tell Ed and tell the guys, it's like, in my brain, I'm like, wow, they didn't notice that I kicked this thing into the creek. So what I'm gonna do in my actor brain, I'm gonna plan like a dramatic scene where I confess and say, hey guys, I'm really sorry. Like, I'm gonna make this like an Oscar-worthy dramatic scene. You know? And of course, now a day later or something, and we're getting very what they call punch drunk, which is just we haven't slept enough, we're not eating a lot, and we start laughing at Heather's foot getting wet in the creek. And so there's that, I feel like there's this frenetic energy. And that's why in that moment, all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah? And that's, it just, in that moment I made the choice, I'm gonna tell them now. And so their responses are really what made the scene, in my opinion. I mean, and we had like physical altercations between the three of us, and then we would say, there were code words, taco was to break scenario. So at the end of that scene, as actors, you're always like, you know, when you're trained to make sure your fellow actors are okay. And I remember feeling, even honestly, even when I watch it to this day, and I'm physically aggressive with Heather, it like, oh, it like hurts me. You know, but I remember stopping, like, you guys good? You guys all right? We all right? All right? Yeah, we're all right. Okay, scenario. Screw you, man! You know, stuff. So that's the story of the map, and that's a nugget that I'm very, very grateful that happened to me and to us.
You said you read asked about that a lot.
I do. You get that a lot.
I watched a movie about a week ago with my daughter, and I brush up on things. And she looks at me at that point, and she was like, "Why the hell would he get rid of the map?" So it is funny that you get asked that quite a bit.
this is a question for the actors. Were there any scary stories from the set?
Nothing particular scary happened out there. Yeah, it was definitely the farting allowance. I think I had more of a farting allowance.
That was scary. Your farting, that we gave you any farting allowance at all. This is terrifying.
You probably did not. I'm still a gassy person. So when you come to the table, just, you know, I warned you.
Mike, you talked about being woken up to like the kids.
The scary, well, you know what? I'm sorry. I take it back. It really wasn't scary. Our job is to be believing in the circumstances, to be scared, believing in the imagined circumstances. We believe it, the audience believes it. But yeah, then they're shaking the tent, which we actually had to wind up doing twice. The creepiest thing, and I don't think I'm making this up, the other two were outright. You could hear like click of a cassette, like boombox, like click, and then babies. So the baby sounds were creepy and scary for sure. And like when you're imagining what might be out there, that can freak you out. But it's funny because you kind of wonder, like, am I going to hear the click? Like even the stick men, I remember thinking, you know, Ed's famous line, they look like twigs tied together with twine. And the fact of the matter is they kind of did, but there's so much fortuitous that happened. Like when I see the footage and it's backlit by the sun, you don't almost notice how manufactured they look, and they do genuinely come off creepy. But when I had to follow Heather, and I didn't know it was a house, I think the most authentic line that I delivered in the film is, "Oh shit, it's a house." Because I didn't know, I didn't expect that to happen. And then I knew that I had to follow her into the house. The note said to follow her all the way up until I couldn't go any further, and then leave her behind and go all the way down. So in my brain, I'm calculating, that means there's an upstairs and there's a basement in this house. And it's a creepy looking house, and something's gonna happen, and the guys are in there, they're ready to torture us in some way. So that was definitely gave me pause.
It's interesting, over the course of 25 years since it came out, there are, I mean, the map, I get specific Josh questions, what was in the little package after I went missing. It was teeth, hair, fake blood, and KY jelly. It's
a hell of a weekend.
It was basically what was in my backpack already. They just wrapped it up. But the two questions that I would say I have gotten most over the course of time. One is, are you really scared? Number two is, did you expect it to be as successful as it was? The answers are not really, and fuck no, we didn't. It's always, you know, as somebody who's a fan of movies, and who is a fan of like naturalism in movies, it is like there's a little bit of, you know, pulling the unicorn's horn off to really realize that it was just a horse all along. Like it feels bad to go like, you know, actually we weren't really scared because we were really hungry and like we were thinking about the fact that our socks were really wet and it sucks to make a movie in cold wet socks. And Jesus, wouldn't it be nice, like just some warm food, a shower, like as a human, and we're doing our jobs as actors, but as a human, you're not really caught up in it. There was one moment, and I wouldn't say I was scared, but in terms of like the magical serendipity of the shoot and things that are wildly unexplained that are past kind of movie magic, that one moment before we went into the woods where we're interviewing the woman about the Blair Witch, which is a made-up thing. It's Ed got really stoned with his friends in college, and they came up like the legacy did not exist. This was fabricated by this group of guys, and so we're presenting it as though it's a real thing. And because of Howard's suggestion, a lot of people that we were interviewing kind of took that and were like, oh yeah, I think I've heard that because humans, nobody wants to sound like they don't know something. And so she's like, yeah, I think I've heard that. And literally her pre-verbal child who was in her arms, as soon as she started talking about the Blair Witch, just started crying and screaming, trying to shut her mouth up to stop her from talking about it, which was really cool, because that baby was not a baby.
Susie Gooch. That's her name.
Ingrid is the baby.
Ingrid, yeah.
She's a therapist now.
Yeah.
True story.
After much therapy herself.
Hello.
Hello? Oh, no. Who's the actual killer in the Blair Witch Project?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yes, I would.
Who do you think it is?
Mike and Josh? They are really suspicious.
I agree. Very insightful.
Well said. Still suspicious.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things, that there's so many theories about it. And honestly, we don't know. We feel like there was some kind of supernatural thing out there, but it totally could have been Josh and Mike, hunting Heather. I mean, they went through a lot of trouble and killed her, though. You could have just killed her on the first day. You went through a lot of turmoil for that. Yeah.
I really love the idea that Josh and Mike are now just like living in Dubai under pseudonyms because they came up with the whole idea so they could make this movie and profit off of it and like escape the country.
That'd be a good sequel.
That's the sequel.
And Heather's ghost comes back to haunt her.
Exactly.
Josh and Mike's excellent adventure acts. I like that.
I'm in. Somebody shouted something out there.
So the original website does still exist. The original created one, if you go to the internet, the Wayback Machine, was on it 2 days ago. You might like to know that. My question is this: with all the story and the lore that you build, what's your favorite story and lore that the fans build? Because there's so much of it.
Like basically like the lore that we invented that hasn't come out yet. Is that what you're talking?
The fan-made lore, because there's all kinds of stories. Like there's the red secret tackle boxes with messages for the cast.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's like so many theories of the ending. It always centers around Josh, though. Everybody's suspicious of Josh. I can't remember anything like off the top of my head, but I think somebody did something where like there was a story about Native Americans finding this, and that was Dan and I when we first came up with it. We're like, yeah, this thing has existed way before the Europeans got here, and the Native Americans in the area knew, don't go into this area of the woods, So I love anything. I love all the theories, and Dan and I came up with the idea we wanted to keep it, not clear. We wanted to make it like, nebulous a little bit, so that people could kind of create their own creature, their own Blair Witch, or whatever it is, in their own minds. And I think that's part of the power of the movie. And I love that the people are, the fans are continuing to, push that, just go in all kinds of different directions. I love it.
I know it's a really podcast, and I forget the author's name, but she's a big sci-fi writer, and there's a lot of fan fiction based on her work. And she's getting asked about it, and she's like, I don't read that stuff because it's not like I did my job, and now it belongs to my audience. And I think there's something really beautiful about all the theories. Like that's not us. We made this thing, and we kind of gave it to you guys. And and it is the deepest honor creatively to have been like a part of something that we kind of did our jobs, we gave it over to the audience, and then the audience took the baton and ran and came up with their own theories and came up with their own worlds, which is really, there was a gallerist in LA in the 70s, and he had this quote, one of my favorite quotes in the world. He said, art offers the possibility of love between strangers. And I always really loved that, and I really think that, you know, the dialogue between the audience members and the fans it's a deep honor, and it's also not the hardest to own. You know, if that makes sense.
I think Blair Witch is an especially intimate movie in that way, because it is like first-person point of view more than a lot of other films are, and it is like there's no pretense. You can feel that there's no layers between you and us when you're watching it. There aren't any. And so I think that intimacy is part of why it sort of lingers with people. And in terms of fan fiction, I personally, the only thing that I read and I love are when there's like theses and MFA or like master's degree dissertations on the Blair Witch Project, especially when they concern the terror of the feminine and the like sort of like patriarchal terror of eros that Blair Witch represents, which I think is a very under discussed thematic.